So you may be getting close to retirement and the thought of what to do next is probably overwhelming. You're not sure where to begin, what to do. I am here to talk to you today about 7 important steps that you should be doing during the retirement decision or prior to making that major decision in life that will make sure that you are retirement ready when that day comes. Hey guys, welcome back. Andrew Toccaceli, Senior Vice President here at W.A. Smith Financial Group. We are a team of advisors coming to you to educate, keep you up to date on all things financial. We are a company based in Ohio working with retirees and individuals all across the country. So excited with today's video. We actually have a bonus supplement for you, a retirement checklist. You can get access to that in the description below. So let's jump in. First thing first, you're getting close to retirement. You don't know where to start. Start with your employer. Okay, so number one thing that we want to focus on here is getting with your employer, your HR department, depending on the size of your company. There may be an individual within the company who is designated to speak about your retirement options. So you want to get with them, not only prepare them and let them know what your thoughts are, maybe when you're thinking about retirement, but start asking some pretty important questions to your employer. For example, what retirement date will most benefit me? Many times with bonuses or defined benefit plans, pension plans, different things that are out there, how to utilize the rest of your vacation time, there could be an advantageous day specifically to retire that may not be completely in line with what your thoughts were. So ask your HR person to kind of walk you through those options, what the best days for that would be. Next question for HR would be to simply get a view of what your retirement benefits may look like. This could be anything from your defined pension plan. How can you take it? When is it available? What are the amounts going to be at what ages? Are there any stock options or other benefits that are required to either be exercised within a time frame, or just quite frankly, what else is out there? So it starts with your employer. Just let them know what your thoughts are. Generally, your employer is going to be happy for you, may try to talk you into staying on. Now that's going to be something in the checklist that you have to ask yourself that. I don't want to get too far here, but remember your employer, if you are a long tenured employee, they may want to try to keep you on as well. So start there. So number 2 item would be to start asking questions about your health insurance options. This could be follow-up questions to your HR. This could be working with your financial planner to make sure that you are well aware of what to do with health insurance in retirement. So, what are my best options? Employers are generally required to offer what they call COBRA insurance, which allows you to maintain the insurance that you have for up to 18 months after leaving that employer. The costs now come out of your pocket, so you're paying for these costs. The employer is no longer footing any of that bill. So it's something that if you're comfortable with your insurance, you really liked the plan you had, you may want to stick with that, for up to the 18 months. Or you want to start looking at other options, which could be on the open marketplace. Depending on your age, you could start looking directly at Medicare. So if you're approaching age 65, you'll want to start looking at Medicare options. But ultimately, what are the best options that are out there? Follow-up to that should always be, well, what are those costs? It's not always the way that you should make a decision on which type of insurance is going to be best for you, but it's obviously a major one, is what will those costs be for you, not only immediately, but what will they look like in the future, so that when you're working with your advisor, you're working through a budget, you understand how you're going to cover these health insurance costs. So what we see very often is if you're retiring prior to age 65 is you have maybe higher cost initially that you may have to bucket some money and kind of know what your worst case scenario is up until your age 65 when you are now Medicare eligible. So what will the cost be for me, and for how long will I be paying these costs? 3 would be on health insurance would ultimately be, what about my spouse? Your spouse may or may not have been on your employer plan, or maybe you were on your spouse's. So asking the questions of not only how are you going to be covered for your health, but how is your spouse going to be covered, and really all these same questions. What's the cost going to look like? On the healthcare front, the next thing would be, what about long-term care? As you are now approaching this big retirement date, one of the biggest things that can derail a successful plan is your health. So health insurance is important, but also making sure that you have a long-term care protection in place. So starting to talk to your advisor about how to best cover yourself from a health disaster, let's say. Last thing is going on the cost would be, where are you paying these costs from? Do you have HSAs, health savings accounts, eligible to you? Are you using IRAs? Are you using your Roth IRAs or after-tax accounts or savings? Whatever it may be, really working through a successful spending plan to determine where you're going to pay these costs. How are they built into your budget? Okay, moving on. Third most important thing to do prior to retiring is to understand what your Social Security benefits are going to look like. So talking with a professional, whether it be your advisor or the Social Security Administration, have an understanding of what are your benefits now, or at the earliest time you can take them, let's say at age 62. What are those benefits at full retirement age, which really could be anywhere from age 66 to 67, depending on how old you are now. And ultimately, what are those benefits to maximize all the way to age 70? From there, it's important to work with the advisor on best timing of when to take that. But the first step would be, what are those benefits at those different ages? Next would be understanding all of your options within Social Security. Can you take spousal benefits? Can your spouse take spousal benefits? Are you divorced? Do you have spousal benefits outstanding? So really just understanding what all is available to you. What are your options? Lastly is just applying when to take it, how to take it. Who are you going to work with to make sure that you don't mess anything up, that you're applying successfully. For example, if you're somebody who is going to stay on working and you're not at full retirement age, talking it through with your advisor, because there are thresholds, there's income limits on how much you can make while taking Social Security without getting a penalty there. So you want to work with a professional, make sure that you're being careful there. Okay, number 4 is what to ask your financial advisor. Now, we've talked about many things where I've said you should get with your advisor, but now you should have all of the information that you can bring to the advisor and say, number 1 is now still the right time to retire? Based on all these facts, does my plan, is it set up for success, and is now still a good time for me to retire? How does the current economic climate impact not only now the current part of my plan, but also any future planning opportunities? Am I going to have to spend less in retirement, or can I continue to maintain my spending levels of what I'm doing right now today? So working with that advisor is important. Them understanding how much income you need to determine, do you have enough to really make that final sign off saying, yes, you are good to go. What will your income sources be and the timing of each? So many people may have Social Security that we talked about. They may have pensions that we have to determine when to take them. You may have rental income. You may have other types of passive income that are coming in. You have to understand the timing of all those, when they're going to be coming in and for how long. If there is a gap, if there's a shortfall of what you are going to have to draw from your nest egg, it's important to work with your advisor on when and where to take those withdrawals from. Are you taking from IRAs? Are you taking from Roth IRAs? Are you taking from after-tax accounts? Or is it some sort of combination plan there for tax planning purposes? This is all things you should have figured out before actually retiring. Lastly, what to do with your old retirement plans. You may be asking yourself, I'm ready. I have all this stuff in place, but now I have my old retirement plan that I'm not contributing to. Talk with your advisor. Game plan for a strategy and how to incorporate that into your future planning. Okay, next one, number 5, is talk to your tax advisor and or CPA. And this is just simply understanding any future tax strategies to benefit yourself long term. These could be tax harvesting opportunities or Roth conversion opportunities. As you approach retirement and that, call it W-2 income or 1099 income that you have from your wages starts to either lower and completely go or completely go away, you may have some opportunity to benefit yourself and maybe your heirs from a tax planning standpoint. So working with your CPA is important. I mentioned this a little bit about Social Security, but important to talk to your CPA if you are deciding to stay on with either some part-time income or consulting work, anything that's going to create additional W-2 income. Make sure that your CPA works with you to make so that you're not impacting Medicare costs, IRMA it is called, or penalties to your Social Security or really any other retirement benefits. So very important that you speak with that CPA prior to retiring. Next two, so number 6 here, is talk with your loved ones, talk with your family members, talk with all of the people that have been in your corner your whole life to determine how is this going to change your day-to-day life. At the end of the day, what are we going to do in retirement? You and your spouse, you may be asking yourselves, we've been working 40 and 50 hours a week our entire life and the bulk of our marriage, for example. What are we going to do when we start seeing each other every single day, all day long? How are we going to work on our relationship? So these are important things. We have seen so many times families make this major decision to retire and they kind of lose purpose a little bit. They're not sure what to do. They haven't thought about what retirement will actually look like. So do it before you make the decision. Talk with your family members. What expectations do you have? What expectations does your spouse have of you in retirement? Talk to recently retired colleagues or family members. Anybody around you who has gone through the experience, start talking with them and really get a feel for what challenges did they face so that you can potentially learn from that. So I can't stress enough how important that one is to get retirement ready. Last one goes right along with this. This is number 7, what to ask yourself. These are things that you should talk to yourself about here. What will your schedule look like? Are you planning to commit to any additional work? For many individuals, retirement means something different. It could very well mean that you're retiring from your long tenured position and moving into a different industry or moving into a consulting type of role at this point. It could be that you're stepping away from work and you have no desire to spend any time outside of your hobbies and your family. Understand, you go from 40 hours a week at a minimum, let's say you're working, this is now all your time. What are you going to do with it? What's that schedule going to look like? How are you going to stay focused on what you enjoy in retirement? You're going to travel, volunteer, create new hobbies. Make sure you maintain purpose, because you can get in a state of depression, if you will, if you get into retirement without having that purpose. So lastly, ask yourself this major question: do you have a comprehensive written plan that addresses all of the items that I just talked about? There's so many different risks that a retiree faces, and we've outlined some of this in the retirement checklist that I mentioned at the beginning that you can get access to in the description below. But at the end of the day, what you want in retirement is financial peace of mind. How you get financial peace of mind is making sure that you have a detailed written plan. What I would encourage you all to do is get that retirement checklist, and I hope by the end of watching this video here, you are maybe a little at ease on what is to come when you prepare for retirement and making sure that you get retirement ready. All right, so let us know what may have been working for you in the comments below, or any additional questions that you may have as you become retirement ready. Again, if you liked today's video, subscribe to our page. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you don't miss future content on, again, all things financial. Thank you again for watching. See you next time.